Chapter 8, Lesson 1, Circumference. Today you're going to learn about radius and diameter, as well as how to find the circumference. And all of these terms have to do with circles. The diameter d of a circle is twice its radius r. The radius of a circle is half its diameter. So here you will see two formulas that will help you find the diameter or the radius. Letter A. The diameter of a circle is 14 inches. Find the radius. If we're finding the radius, we want to use this formula. We want radius by itself. So r equals 1/2 times the diameter. And what we do is we plug in the diameter of 14. Radius equals 1/2 times 14. 1/2 times 14, we have to put 14 over 1. Radius equals 14 over 2, or simply 7 inches. What you're really doing when you're given the diameter is you're dividing that number by 2. So 14 divided by 2 is 7 inches. Letter B. This time we're given the radius, which is 8 feet. Find the diameter. Since we're given the radius, we can use diameter equals 2 times r. The radius is 8 feet, so we plug in 8 for r. So diameter equals 2 times 8, which is 16. And feet is the unit. So when you're given the radius, all you have to do is multiply it by 2, or double it. Letter C. D equals 23 centimeters. Find the radius. Radius equals 1/2 times 23, which of course we'll put over 1. Radius equals 23 over 2, just multiplying the numerators, multiplying the denominators. And of course fractions are division, so let's do the division. 2 goes into 23, 2 goes into 2 once, minus 2 is 0. Bring down the 3. 2 goes into 3 once, 3 minus 2 is 1. We're going to add a decimal point and a 0. 2 goes into 10, 5 times, minus 10 is 0. So our answer here is 11.5 centimeters. Letter D. Radius equals 3 inches. Find the diameter. We're finding diameter, so diameter on one side of the equal sign. D equals 2 times the radius. Plug in 3. D equals 2 times 3. And D equals 6 inches. Letter E. Radius equals 5.2. Find the diameter. We're finding diameter, so D equals 2 times the radius. D equals 2 times 5.2. So let's do that multiplication. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 5 is 10. We have one number behind the decimal point, so we want one number behind in our answer. D equals 10.4. We don't have any units, so we don't need to write any units. Letter F. Diameter equals 16 yards. Find the radius. The radius is 1/2 times the diameter. The radius is 1/2 times 16, which of course we'll put over 1 and multiply. 1 times 16 is 16. 2 times 1 is 2. course, fractions are division. So radius equals 8 yards. 16 divided by 2 gave us the 8 as an answer. Now finding circumference. The circumference of a circle is equal to pi times its diameter, or pi times twice its radius. So you could use either formula depending on what information they give you. If they give you diameter, you're going to use that formula. If they give you radius, you're going to use this formula. Pi is approximately, and that's what that symbol means, approximately, 3.1415926 ... The decimal never ends, but we oftentimes will approximate it as 3.14, which I know you're used to seeing, or what may be new to you, 22/7. These are just approximations. They are not exact. Letter A. Find the circumference of a circle with a radius of 21 inches. Use 22/7 for pi. So in this case, we're given the radius, so we need to use the formula with radius in it. This first formula has diameter, the second one has radius, and it's going to be the one we use. Circumference equals 2 pi r. It tells us to use 22/7 for pi, so circumference equals, bring down the 2, then we have 22/7, and we have our radius of 21. What you're going to do here, let's put these all over 1. You're going to multiply. So let's look at the first two and multiply those together. 22 times 2, which you probably could do in your head, is 44. So C equals 44 over 1 times 7 is 7. And then bring down your 21 over 1. Now let's do that multiplication. 44 times 21. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Put a placeholder. 2 times 4 is 8. And 2 times 4 is 8. Add them up. We get 924. So C equals 924. That's just the numerator. We still have to multiply the denominators. 7 times 1, which is 7. Again, remember that fractions are division. So let's do the long division of 924 divided by 7. 7 goes into 9 once. Bring down the 2. 7 goes into 22 3 times, which is 21. Bring down the 4. And it goes in here twice into 14. So our answer is 132. So circumference equals 132. And our unit is inches. I'm going to box that answer because I have a lot of stuff going on there. Letter B. Find the circumference of a circle. Use 22/7 for pi. Now it doesn't tell us whether or not that 70 inches in this diagram is the radius or the diameter. A radius goes from the center of the circle, that blue dot in there, to any side. A diameter is a straight line through the center of the circle that goes from one end to the other. So in this case, we're given a diameter. So diameter is 70 inches. Since we're given the diameter, we're going to use the formula C equals pi times the diameter. Again, it tells us to use 22/7 for pi. C equals, plug in 22/7 times our diameter of 70, which we will put over 1. So let's do that multiplication. We'll start with the denominator so I don't forget about it. 7 times 1 is 7. And now the numerator, 22 times 70. Well, 0 times anything is 0, so we can put 2 zeros there. Cross it off and put our placeholder. 7 times 2 is 14, carry the 1. 7 times 2 plus 1 is 15. Add them up. And our numerator is 1,540. Again, remember, fractions are division. So let's do that division. I'm just going to scroll down a little bit here. 7 goes into 1,540. 7 goes into 15 twice, which is 14. Subtract to get 1. Bring down the 4. Again, 7 into 14 twice. Minus 14 is 0. Don't forget, you have that 0. You must bring it down. 7 goes into 0. 0 times. So our answer, circumference equals 220, and in this case, inches. Letter C. Find the circumference of the circle. Use 22/7 for pi. What are we given this time, the radius or the diameter? Good, we're given the radius. So we are going to use circumference equals 2 pi r. Circumference equals, bring down the 2. For pi, we're going to use 22/7. In the radius, I have a fraction, so it's just 7/8. We're going to put that 2 over 1, and we're going to multiply the first 2 together. 22 times 2 is 44. So 44 over 7. Bring down the 7/8. So then we need to do 44 times 7. 7 times 4 is 28. Carry the 2. 7 times 4 plus 2 is 30. Circumference equals 308 is the numerator. And the denominator is 7 times 8, which is 56. Okay, fractions are division, so let's do the division. 56 into 308. Well, I would guess maybe about 5 times, so let's just see what 56 times 5 is. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 3 is 28. And I think that's a good guess. If I multiplied 56 times 6, I think we'd be a little over. So let's subtract 280. 8 minus 0 is 8. Do some borrowing. 10 minus 8 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. But let's add a decimal point and bring down a 0. Conveniently, we have 280. So again, it's 5. So our circumference is 5.5, and in this case, feet. Letter D. Find the circumference of a circle whose diameter is 15 meters. Use 22/7 for pi. We are given diameter, so circumference equals pi times d. Circumference equals, we are using 22/7, and then we are multiplying by our diameter, which is 15, but because the first number is a fraction, we're going to put that over 1. Circumference equals, the denominator is easy and I don't want to forget about it, so 7 times 1 is 7. And then we need to do 22 times 15. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 2 plus 1 is 11. Put a placeholder. And then 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 2 is 2. Add them up. And we get 330 as our numerator. Fractions are division. So 7 into 330. 7 goes into 33 4 times, which is 28. Subtract and get 5. Bring down the 0. 7 goes into 50 7 times, which is 49. Subtract and get 1. Now, I could add a decimal and continue on, but because my remainder is 1, and my fraction would be 1 over 7, I know that that doesn't end. So if I continue with the decimal, I'm going to keep going for a while. So my answer here, let's write it as a mixed number. Our whole number is 47. So circumference equals 47. The remainder is 1, and the denominator stays 7. So 47 and 1/7 meters. 47 and 1/7 meters. Letter E. Big Ben is a famous clock tower in London, England. The diameter of the clock face is 23 feet. Find the circumference of the clock face. Round to the nearest tenth, use 3.14 for pi. So this time we're using 3.14. We are given the diameter, so circumference equals pi times the diameter. Circumference equals 3.14 times the diameter of 23. So from here we just multiply, and when we're multiplying we don't need to line up decimals. 3 times 4 is 12, carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. Put a placeholder. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Add them up. 2, 12, 12, and 7. Because I have two numbers behind the decimal point, I need to have two numbers behind the decimal point here. Circumference equals 72. Now, before I go on, it says round to the nearest tenths. This number right here is in your tenths place. Does it stay a 2 or become a 3? In order to figure that out, you need to look next door. In this case, it stays a 2 because that next door number is less than 5. So 72.2, and our unit of measure is feet. So the distance around that clock on Big Ben is 72.2 feet. Letter F. A circular fence is being placed to surround a tree. The radius of the fence is 2 feet. How much fencing is used? Use 3.14 for pi, round to the nearest tenth if necessary. This time we're given the radius, so circumference equals 2 pi r. Let's plug in the values we know. Circumference equals 2 times 3.14 times the radius of 2. Now, multiplication is what we call commutative, which tells me I can multiply in any order I want. So what I'm going to do the easy multiplication and multiply 2 times 2 first. So C equals 4, and then I bring down 3.14. This time I'm only doing decimal multiplication once. So let's multiply. 3.14 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 1 plus 4 is 5. And 4 times 3 is 12. In this case, I have 2 behind the decimal point, so 12.56. However, the directions tell me to round to the nearest tenth. 5 is in the tenths place. In order to figure out if that stays a 5 or becomes a 6, I need to look next door. Because this number right here is bigger than 5, what happens is it bumps this number up 1. So your answer would be 12.6 feet. And that's the end of lesson 1.